It's Saturday morning. I'm in my bathroom putting on some makeup because I'm actually gonna maybe wander outside today in the public. And of course, maybe be on camera, and so, you know, we've got to put a little bit of effort in because I am Southern, and we do have to put a little bit of effort in for the most part before we go out.
Well, I haven't left the house without Lycra on these thighs since I was 14.
We have rules, and I haven't always followed them. Welcome to August wrap-up vlog style part 2. I am 80% through Doomsday Match. So I wanted to talk about my Kindle book. Even from reading just a few pages before bed, I am now over 70% through, and they've just started going through these ceremonial rituals to start this game that they've been forced into. And I'm guessing the author kind of stayed true to how the Mayans played this ball game. It's a 4-pound rubber ball. You have this giant court. There are 2 sides of this court. They're playing on very packed sand, but the ball can break limbs. So they're dressed in like wood and some, animal skin, alligator, some sort of thing. And the Roth family is just in disbelief that this has happened and that they're here playing this game. I'm somewhat attached. There hasn't been a huge bunch of character development or any chapters through the eyes of these kids, but just as an adult, I worry about these twins and this teenager, Suki. I worry about them because they're going to be playing against this family who is extremely fit. They've played the game for years, and I feel like the Roth family is going to be annihilated. Now, something tells me, since they're in a book, and the book is just about them, that they're not just going to be annihilated, right? But how are they going to get through this? I wonder if there are going to be broken bones or worse, because this author, he is not above harming his characters. But I literally want to just get my Kindle and finish that book right now. We are back from church, and you are actually on a yoga block. So, we'll see what happens. This is my Kindle. I finished Doomsday Match. It gets 5 stars. It's set up with a satisfying ending, but I do feel like there's room for another in this series. If you want a book that has very little setup, is completely plot driven, and moves at such a fast pace, and if you like your characters to be in just literally impossible situations that you can't fathom a way out of, then Doomsday Match by Jeff Wheeler is for you. I am over halfway through 11/22/63. It's the 18th of August, and I have already deviated from my TBR. It just started though. I've been true to my TBR till today. When I had a video idea, some thoughts. I wanted to see how much reading I could get done in one day, and I'm going to start that tomorrow. Is that? Yeah, this is my turn. But I wanted to have a chunky book to really see how far through this chunk can I get. So I looked at what I have, and of course the items on my shelf won't do. Oh, no. It has to be something new. So I took a while this morning to try to figure out what my library had, or the branches around me. And it turns out that the branch closest to me has a book that is a chunk that I've never been interested in reading, ever. Is this my turn? This is not my turn. This is my turn. that book is Stephen King's 11/22/63. So it is about time travel, someone trying to go back in time to keep JFK from being assassinated. Now, this particular point in history and this particular historical event don't really interest me a whole lot. So why am I reading this book? Well, I don't know. I mean, already emotional. Wow, I'm turning this all over the place. Sorry. So, where am I looking? I just started 11/22/63. And I'm probably like 6-7 pages in. And it's already emotional. Jay Epping, is that his name? Yeah, Jake Epping. He's reading an essay from the janitor about his father and what happened and what his father did. And it's emotional. I'm really liking the writing so far. I haven't gotten on in the past with Stephen King. I read Rose Matter in college, and I think Pet Cemetery, Salem's Lot. I tried to read The Stand, and it was just too gross. But I have heard the writing in this one is good, and it clinches you from the start, and somehow it is. Anyway, I'm going to continue on with this. I think I'll also get the audiobook too, because I do have 5 credits, and this is a giant book, and I will have to do things tomorrow like, eat, take the dogs out, and let's just see how far we can get. You're sitting on my toaster right now. I'm sleepy. I want to go take a nap. My head's cut off. You can see the recycling right there. Oh well. Give her some. Andy. Let her have a little. We call him Piglet. He hogs every little thing he can get. He wants it. Here, let her have just a... Andy, let her have just a little bit. Andy. Here. No, Andy. Ah. Come here, Clemmy. Come on, Clemmy. It's okay. Oh, You done? Look at his little hoof feet. Good morning. So, I finished 11/22/63. And there were times when I thought, I'm going to give this 3 stars, even though it moves along so quickly, just because I felt like there were some political statements he was making, perpetuating some Southern stereotypes that also, by and large, I don't believe to be true. He could have been more balanced with that, so that kind of got on my nerves, but I'm going to try to see past that and just rate the book for what it is and get over the political nonsense. I mean, he was raised in, I'm sure, a little vacuum. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure he's been everywhere, but he's pretty fixed in his ideas, and I want to believe that Jake Epping was just a character, but I wonder if there's a little bit of Stephen King's beliefs and ideas in there. I don't know. And maybe a few years down the road, looking back, he's changed his mind on some of his opinions. But I'm going to go ahead and give this a 4 stars. If Goodreads allowed for half stars, then I would give it 3.5. It is one that I recommend. He's really a genius when it comes to both a plot-driven and character-driven story. You get everything in a Stephen King novel, for sure. None Shall Sleep, YA, I'm not interested. I soft DNF'd that one, and I feel like that one's going to be a hard DNF here soon if I don't pick it back up, because it's going to be due. I tried. Oh, good morning. I went to bed with my hair wet, and you can tell. I wanted to do an update on None Shall Sleep. I'm just going to go ahead with it. I'm on page 190, something like that. Chapter 21. And they've just been allowed to come to crime scenes as they're trying to figure out these kids, I don't know if I've even talked about what this is about. So it's 1982, and these 2 teenagers, one who is the son of a U.S. Marshal who was killed by a serial killer, and the victim of a serial killer who survived, they have been recruited by the FBI, and they're working with Detective Cooper, and they're trying to they're just talking to juvenile offenders who are in prison or psychiatric facilities for crimes like serial killing, or murder, I guess. I don't know if it's serial murder, but they've just been allowed to go to these crime scenes, and they kind of snuck into one, and so they had to be allowed because it would have made a scene otherwise. They really feel like they can help. The writing is so good, but it's not. The writing is good for an adult book. The writing is wonderful. But the conversations that these people are having and the way these kids conduct themselves really brings me out of the story, because they are teenagers or early 20s. And they've both had crazy trauma. So yeah, they're going to act a little more stoic and adult than their counterparts. However, you would not know that these were children or teenagers or young adults just by hearing their conversations with other adults. So I think this author could have made this a new adult or adult novel, honestly. I don't think it reads like a YA, aside from how short the chapters are and how fast kind of things are going without that in-depth character development. I'm just getting through it. It's not bad. We'll see what happens. Anyway, I've got to continue getting ready. I've got to do something with this. I should never have cut it, because I could have just put this in a braid or put it in a bun on top of my head and then we're done. But now I've got to actually put some effort in, and I don't like putting effort into my hair at all. I probably should also just cut it off. Either have it really long or Halle Berry cut. That's kind of how it's been in the past. Or it's here, because I'm in between the Halle Berry and the long. Whatever, Whatever. All right, bye.
Editing Kim here. I have to preface this next session because it is going to sound like I don't like Australia. It might. I have anxiety, so I worry about that. And I need you to know that I love Australia. Love it. I've never been, because I hear it is very hot. And me and heat, we don't jive. We don't get along. But as a kid, I was obsessed with Australia. My first dog that I remember was named Mick, after Mick Dundee.
2 beers, all right? One for me, one for me, mate.
Still to this day, one of my favorite movies of all time. And that classic award-winning 80s song, Down Under by Men at Work. One of the best songs ever recorded, period. You know it's true. My only gripe, it's not about Australia or the fact that they say choc chip cookies. I think it's cute. I think the brekkie thing is cute, or you're out of your tree, or all these different things that people say in Australia. My gripe is, in this book, None Shall Sleep, the author has put some Australian, what do we call these? Colloquialisms into the book. And so you've got perfection here. It's tracking with things that people in Ohio or Texas or the United States in general would say. I would never have believed that this author was from Australia or somewhere else reading the first bit of this book. I mean, she does a solid, wonderful job with these Southern Midwestern characters, both. Wonderful job. But then she says dressing gown and choc chip cookies, and I'm like, that doesn't track. So I proceed to gripe about this for, the next few minutes. The characters are American. It is set in America. And I later go on to say, I read a lot of the Moriarty girl. Since she started writing, I've been reading her books. And they're all set in Australia, as far as I know. And so if I know that it's set in Australia and you're saying, brekkie and all these different things, I'm fine with it. So whatever. It's not a big deal, but I gripe about it for the next few minutes as if it were a big deal. So skip it if you want. I don't know. It's your precious time, so skip it if you want to. Okay. So far, this is good, but is this a story centered in America with American characters or not? We don't say dressing down, and we don't say choc chip cookies. So I looked, and the author is, I don't know what she is. She's been everywhere. I don't know if she's British or not, but she now lives in Australia. I'm on chapter 2, page 10, and I'm really getting into it. It's all American all the way until we get to choc chip cookies.
2 seconds later.
One more thing. Like page 3. I don't know what page it was. First chapter. This is supposed to be a YA. It has no business using that language. Did the author forget that this was a YA? It's a YA horror. It's taken me out of the story a little with the language. There's a lot of words, very adult words, that this author uses, and I'm thinking, if this is at the school library, should a teenager or tweenager be reading this? It's marketed as YA. I wouldn't want my child reading that. And then this is set in Quantico, Virginia, as well as some other penitentiaries around the country. Right now, what are we, in West Virginia? I don't know. We're in Virginia and West Virginia, and maybe I'm wrong about where we're at. All we can go is west from Quantico, basically. So, or north or south. You know what? I don't know where we're at, but it's nowhere where anyone would ever call a chocolate chip cookie a choc chip cookie. Okay. I immediately went to check the back to see where the author was from. And of course, she's not American. And I love that she's trying to write a story set in America. One of our main characters is from Texas. His dad was, I believe, a U.S. Marshal. He's trying to be a U.S. Marshal. The female main character is from Ohio. Everything's tracking so far, except for that choc chip cookie. I've only heard personally people from Australia say that. Maybe they do in the UK. I don't know. Ireland. I don't know. Maybe. But we sure don't. Now, there could be someone in some area of the U.S. that does say dressing gown. I'll give you that. It's like a cart. Some people say a cart, a shopping cart, and some people say a buggy. Okay? Maybe it happens, but I've just never heard anyone say it. So I could be wrong, but there's two things there that just brought me out of the story. And I dislike being wee person right out of my book. And that's what this did. If someone in Ohio or Texas or Virginia in this story starts putting Vegemite on a sandwich, I'm just going to return this book to the library because that's too much.
I look like Ichabod Crane right now, don't I? With my hair and the way I wear it, I either look like Ichabod Crane or Popeye's wife, whatever her name was. It is what it is. I don't mind. But it's so fine. And I slick it back and I put it in a little bun, and unfortunately that's what it ends up looking like. I have a new nighttime book aside from the Bible, and it's Misery by Stephen King, which came in on ebook from the library. So I don't know if I doubt I'll finish that in August. I just have too much going on. Doomsday Match is out and Misery is in. And we'll just see how we get on. I am just a little bit away from finishing Misery, and this has been my Kindle book. But if I've had some work to do online that allowed me to kind of listen to something and think, I've also asked, I can't say her name, but I've asked her to read it to me. Amazon, you know. Anyway, it's gross. It's not my thing. It's good. I think I'm still going to give it an okay rating, but there have been things that have been described that I could taste in my mouth. I couldn't get it out of my head. And this book went there. I've never watched the movie. I had no idea that this Annie, I forget her last name, did this to Paul, the author. And I had told my husband, oh, let's watch this movie after I finish the book. No, not if it depicts accurately what happened in the book. I don't want to see that. I want nothing to do with that. A lot of people probably know what I'm alluding to. It just gives me the ick. It's not something I should probably be reading. It just gave me a weird, icky feeling, and it gave me anxiety. And maybe that's part of Stephen King's way of transporting you, and maybe that's... Andy, come here. He's trying to make a bed in the dirty clothes. Aren't you? Because I'm standing near them. If you would just look so that they can see your cute little face. He'll look anywhere but. Anywhere. You'll look anywhere but. How's that? Can you see him now? Anyway, maybe that speaks to how great of an author Stephen King is, that he can transport you into this horrible place and put you in these positions that you just compare to hell, really. I mean, he's like Dante in that way. Your breath. You're very cute, but your breath. He looks like a puppy, but you smell his breath and his age will come to you real quick. He's an old man, and he's got old dog breath, don't you? It is bad. Oh my gosh.
Ew, David. Ew, no, David. Ew, David.
I'm snagging on you. I'm snagging on you. Look at this koala. Look at his little arms. That's what, the 9th book of this month? Here I was thinking that I had more time in August and would be reading more books in August. Oh no. No. I think 12 or 13 books I read in July and 7, 8, or 9 books in August. Like, I really have no idea. Just standing here right now, like I don't have any. I have so many books going on. There's always 1 or 2 Kindles, 2 or 3 physicals, 2 audios. Okay. So at any one time, like, I have no idea. I'm just juggling a bunch of books. And I don't remember how many I've read, but it's been a long day. Are you okay? Nothing is going on. Whatever you just heard and whatever you think it might have been, he is snorting like a pug down here. Case in point. To wit. I'm going to take a nap. It's nap time. It is September 1st. And it's a little nippy outside in the morning, which is wonderful. I'm still thinking about what I can put on my September TBR, but just like August, you know, the library controls that. So it's kind of hard for me to put out a TBR because I didn't read any of the books on my shelf. Did I? No. So there are like 3 or 4 books on my August TBR that I didn't get to. I think that's all I have to say.